Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Last Mag podcast. And today we're going to be covering EWC and Rostermania news going on right now. And guys, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. We just hit over 3,000 subscribers. We're on the road to 4,000 with an end goal of 5,000 subscribers. So guys, thank you so much for all love and support, and let's crack on into it. So for background wise, I couldn't get a final map total for grand finals for EWC, but let's break down what happened and crack right on into things. So OpTic are your back-to-back EWC winners of Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. The dominance for the Black Ops series in the past 2 years. Now, as you guys can see here, Team Heretics surprised everyone and got to grand finals. Now, let's talk about how in the world they got here. So starting off, we had group stages. We had Group A and Group B, and from Group A, we had FaZe Clan and G2 advancing on winner's side, with FaZe Clan with a 6-1 map count, and G2 Esports with a 6-0, giving G2 the edge and advantage in the standings for bracket play. Playoff slash black. Yeah, it's playoffs, my bad. And then on loser side, we have Gelmates and Movie Star Koi. Now, those teams were 2-1. And I believe, let me see here. Yeah, Movie Star Koi had Gelmates had the edge over Movie Star Koi, or Toronto Koi in this case, for map count and all, so they led, I believe, or was it Koi? Either which way, those are the teams that got out of Group A. And honestly, I'm surprised that the Pit, which was an EU Challengers team, did not get out of bracket play or group play. Because when you look at it, you think, if you guys watched EWC, the Pit was honestly a very, it's like if they had been together for a bit longer than this, I could have seen them easily maybe gain out of group play, but they just had unfortunate roll of the dice. Now, let's hop over to Group B, where 100 Thieves and OpTic Gaming, I forgot, in Team Falcons get it done on the winner's side. Thieves, they have a 6-2 map count, and Heretics have a 6-2 map count, and I believe Thieves being a higher seed, well, no, I think Falcons had the edge in the long run because of how the formula worked out, I believe. But either which way, Thieves and Falcons make it out group play and on to the next stage. And in the losers bracket, surprisingly, Heretics and OpTic Gaming get it done. And honestly, I was shocked to see Thieves take out OpTic. I thought OpTic was going to do better, but that was not the case, because looking at the Thieves versus OpTic game to see who would advance, it honestly should have gone, yeah, So game 4 was a 239 to 250 hard point loss. I think. Let me see if I can. Oh, I can't pull up VOD. Shoot. But game 5 was a 6-3 victory for Thieves. And when I saw the 6-3 victory for Thieves, I thought, oh, this is not good. I thought the curse for OpTic Search and Destroy was going to come back and bite them in the butt. In a way, it kind of did, but didn't. So, those are your 8 teams moving into playoffs. Now, okay, so starting from top, I should have screenshotted so badly. Whoops, my bad. So, first series on my screen, we had G2 versus Heretics. Now, for the playoff bracket, it's a best of 7, so you need to win 4 maps in order to advance. G2 actually did put up a bit of a strong fight against Heretics, and I'm surprised Heretics got done. Because map 1 is a 250, 222 hard point win for G2. Game 2 is around 11. Heretics comfortable in game 3, 3-1 in overload. Game 4 was a 250 to 213 loss for G2. And then game 5 is a 6-4 in search. Then G2 again come back, throwing haymakers, 5-3 in the overload, and then game 7 is where everything just seemed to peter out. That's who I also need to put into Rostermania news. Okay, sorry guys if you just hear me talking to myself. I forgot to put certain players into my notes. Beans. Envoy. Crump. And honestly, with the loss of Colossus on hard points, it felt like G2 lost a significant of their map pool. Mainly because Colossus is one of their best map sets. And it was honestly interesting. So, Heretics, they beat G2, advanced to Sunday, and now let's talk about the next series. Falcons versus Gelmates. This also went to game 7. Game 1 was a 250, 223 hardpoint victory for Falcons. A 6-2 loss for Search and Destroy for Falcons. Again, it was now this one honestly blew my brains away. Game 3 was a 1-0 for Gelmates, and they get the job done. But to be fair, it felt like a heavy stalemate. Like, both teams were trying to park the bus, and we were seeing a lot of park the bus situation happen. So, Game 5 was a 250 to 145 in favor of Falcons. And then, again, this is where I feel like Falcons started struggling significantly. They weren't really winning the Search and Destroys initially. They get blown out completely. 6-1 on, I think it was, I'm positive it was Gridlock. Then Falcons, game 6 on Den Overload. My gosh. This goes all the way to overtime. And Falcons have less than a minute to score. And oh my gosh, this was insanity to watch. I had to rewatch that clip multiple times. Xnid goes straight middle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going throw. And in 15 seconds flat, Falcons scored to get them to game 7, where in the end it was a 6-3, and Falcons eliminate Gelmates from EWC. Now, for playoff brackets, it's a You only got one life and you're done. It's not double elimination. So, Sunday it would be Heretics versus Falcons and the winner of that would play in the grand finals. Now, moving down to the lower bracket of there, we have 100 Thieves versus Koi, and this was murder. 4-0, 100 Thieves take it very comfortably. Game 4 did start to look a little like, Koi's starting to wake up a bit. And here's what happened. Game 1, 250, 168, Thieves take. Game 2, 6-3, Thieves take. That was for Game 2. Game 3, 1-0. Now this right here, ladies and gentlemen, like overload scores. Like some teams it seemed like were so scared to score, but other teams were playing insane defense. Now, to send Koi home, it was a 250 to 230 hardpoint victory for Thieves, and I thought Koi might have figured some sort of play out, so we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, with Koi in Rostermania, which I will discuss in a bit. So, Thieves, they move on Sunday, and now for final game of Saturday. This one just broke my heart. I wanted to rip my hair out, scream at the screen, what in the actual heck are you doing? Like, so game 1, so this was a 4-0 in favor of OpTic. Game 1 was a 175 to 250 hardpoint victory for OpTic, a 6-3 victory for OpTic in Search, a 6-4 in Overload, and then to put the cherry on top, 250 to 94 hardpoint on Frequency to send FaZe home. This just made me cry, but honestly, guys, FaZe, they took the most important event of the year. I don't care what people say of, oh, OpTic's better than FaZe. I'm sorry, but who won champs? Who got their rings? Oh yeah, that was FaZe. So, FaZe, overall, season, great. I'm going to give them a solid B+, maybe A. Wise, it's like it wasn't a dominant season, but they actually won champs in 5+ years. So, yeah, gotta put that into effect, guys. Gotta look at the ring more than EWC. It weighs more. Now, let's move on to Sunday. Heretics, Falcons. This was murder. This was absolute revenge series of Heretics versus Falcons because in Group B, to decide the winners, Heretics versus Falcons had to play each other. And let me tell you how this went. It was a 3-1 in favor of Falcons. Game 1 was a 250 to 202. Heretics come back with map 2. And honestly, this might also been another crack in Falcons' flaw. Search and Destroy wasn't good for them this weekend. 6-2 Search. Game 3, Falcons, they get the 4-3 victory in Overload. And then Game 4, hardpoint was a 250 to 200 victory for Falcons. And Falcons were actually chirping and trash talking. Now, let's talk about the Heretics series for whoever gets to grand finals. Game 1, hardpoint, 250, 212. Game 2, 6-5 in Search. Game 3, 3-2. And then Game 4, 250 to 233. Now, outside, it's like, yeah, you could. It's like the hard points were close, like 4 was closer than 1. But games 2 and 3, round 11, and I believe game 3 was overtime. I have to double check. But at the end of at the end, Rancor gets up, and instead of celebrating with his team, he literally Usain Bolts across the stage, and cameraman's like looking at the heretics, and in the meantime, Rancor has fist bumped 3 out of 14 members for Falcons, and Celium is last. Rancor gets into Celium's face. Well, Celium and Rancor start having heated words. Rancor gets into Celium's face, says some well choice words, and honestly, I honestly don't commend violence, but when you're in someone's face yelling and screaming and trash talking them, shoving him backwards to get him out of his face was definitely a shock, because the last time we had this type of altercation was Nade Shot versus Aches, and I believe it was Black Ops. It was either Advanced Warfare. Yeah, I'm positive it was Advanced Warfare. Or it was BO. No, it wasn't BO2. Let me just quickly double check quickly. Yeah, it was Black Ops 2, so I was right. Okay. Yeah, that fight right there was such an homage to Aches versus Nade Shot. So Heretics, they go on to grand finals. Falcons, they drop down for deciding 3rd or 4th place. Now, mind you, going on, Falcons are not at the number 1 slot for winning Club of the Year. It's like they're down by 500 points, and that's a significant margin. Like AGAL took AGAL, I'm positive, took the number 1 slot, and with Warzone, with Falcons not winning, I feel like that also put pressure on to Falcon boys to need to win, to be like, hey, it's not just us who are online. Our necks are online. Basically, it's the Warzone guys. Like, Falcons had started looking very human. Like, they could be beat. So, yeah. Now let's talk about Thieves versus OpTic on Sunday. This goes also all the way to a final map. We go game 7. Map 1, 250 to 129 hardpoint. And when I saw this one, I was like, oh my gosh, we are in trouble. Things are not going good for OpTic, but because game 2, 6-5 in favor of Thieves. Now game 2, it looked like OpTic just started shaking off the dust in shock from first 2 maps, because it was a 4-2 in favor of OpTic. Game 4, or second hardpoint, was a 250 to 173. Game 5 was a 6-2 search victory. Then game 6 to force the map 7 was a 3-2, and that game 6 in Overload, I thought for sure OpTic was going to seal the deal, slam the door in Thieves' face. And finally, we go to game 7, And this is actually a typo on the Esports World Cup page. This was a 6-2 victory in favor of OpTic Gaming. And it was hilarious to see OpTics be dominant and just be as scary as possible. Now, I'm not going to do grand finals yet. I'll talk about third place. And this was a disaster class for the Falcons. Game 1, 225 to 175 Falcons. Game 2, 6-1 Falcons. Game 3, 5-3 Falcons. One map away from securing third place and actually helping Falcons with the point differential. Game 4, Thieves, 250 to 103. Thieves are on the board. Game 5, 6-0. Thieves. Second map on board. Falcons at this point are 3, Thieves 2. We go to game 6. Thieves 4, Falcons 1. We finally go to the last map possible to determine third and fourth place. Falcons 3 rounds to 6 for Thieves. What an absolute breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. I was laughing and like, what am I witnessing right now? So, yeah. Yowza. Yeah, that's not going to go away anytime soon, I fear, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's get to grand finals. We go to 8 maps out of 9. OpTic Gaming, 5. Heretics, 3 of those maps. Game 1, 250, 198. Believe it's frequency. It's frequency. I've got the map pool right in front of me that you guys should be seeing. Second one, Saki 6-1. Best maps for OpTic. Overload was a high scoring game. Like, this was actually impressive. And then we go to Scar, which is a 250 to 241. So, nail biter of a series. Then we get to Den, and this is where OpTic loved their playground setup. 6-1 murder. Game 6, and at this point, OpTic is OpTic is just one map away from clinching it all, because you need to win 5 maps in order to win it all. So we go to Den Overload. It's a 6-2 victory. We go to Den Search and Destroy, and this is when I start chuckling a bit, because I have to say the COD champs Ghost / PTSD for OpTic comes out because Heretics steal the game 7 with a 6-4 victory. We go to the final Den of the Black Ops 7 season for Hardpoint. Heretics 183 to OpTic's 250. And that ends the season for Heretics, and OpTic goes back to back. What an absolute weekend it was, ladies and gentlemen. Cannot wait to see what happens for the off season, which we will now discuss. So, major news, jailmates are trying to target Simp for their team. However, I don't see Simp leaving without his core staff, or maybe even some of his teammates, or even both. Like, if jailmates want to get Simp onto their team, because I believe the team they're trying to build is like Simp, Scrap, Joe Deceives, and Simp, Scrap, Joe Deceives. No. Maybe Hydra. No, I don't think it's Hydra. Let me see. Okay, so Scrap, Hydra, um, yeah, so they would target Scrap and Hydra and Simp, with Joe Deceives signed on a long contract. Now, the question is, Simp, Hydra, and Joe are all SMGs. Who do you throw into the flex role? Do you throw Simp? Do you throw Joe back in there? Like it. And this is where it gets interesting, because if if Simp does go there, he's going to be dragging his whole coaching roster. You've got the Fish, you've got RJ, you've got Crowder, and I would also assume you've got probably Draza, 04, maybe a Booza, but I'm not sure. And maybe even a Luca, but that's still too many. Um, and the whole main part of Rostermania is the bidding war for Scrap and Hydra, because the main teams that are going after him are jailmates. There's rumors going that Hydra's trying to go for OpTic. Falcon's like, okay, maybe we pull up with big boy money and just try and buy Scrap out or something, or see what we want to do. Like, this is going to be an interesting not EWC, Rostermania season. So, Simp, Scrap, Hydra, definitely the top 3 agents for Rostermania to keep your eyes on. Now, Rancor there was a tweet saying that I believe he's a UFA, or unrestricted free agent. So, now I'll talk about Rancor in a second. M80 is rumored to be taking over the Boston Breach slot, or has already been confirmed, but from last hearings, it hasn't been official. Now, with the Hydra prospect, it's like, OpTic, do you drop Hook? And if you drop Hook, how's Hydra going to integrate into the team chemistry? Now, that's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. Now, Carolina Royal Ravens, let me get on over there quickly. So, for groups, nope, I'm in the wrong group. Yeah, there we go. So, Carolina came in with Exceed, Knox, Lurks, and Trakes. Now, there was rumors about someone in org potentially trying to buy the Carolina Royal Ravens. So we'll see what happens. But Knox and Trakes are both Hispanic. players. So question is, do you move Rancor in there and try and do an all Spanish core roster maybe, and like do a second um Spanish team potentially? But we shall see. Now, Gelmates have dropped Sib and Ghosty from the rosters, so not sure where Sib is going to go. Well, hold on a sec. Now, Vancouver Surge, at the start, at the end of champs, they had already dropped their whole team, and there's a rumor saying that they're going for, Pred and Sib. Now, another free agent that is free is Neptune. I could see maybe Vancouver try and pick up Neptune. Like Sib, Pred, Neptune. It's like you've got one AR, you've got I would say probably a strong SMG duos. Like that's what I could see Vancouver Surge doing, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now Skies dropped from G2 for Beans. And let me quickly talk about G2. G2's roster is Beans, Envoy, Crump, and Nasty from EWC. I could see G2 try and build around Beans and Nasty being EU potentially, because let me just skip on over. The Omit team is also EU, being Aspects, Denza, DK, and Ethan. Now, Ethan and DK are definitely sought after. I know Ethan was trying to be signed to Koi. It's going to be interesting because I see G2 and Koi try and go for EU teams potentially, like pure EU based. So, I will also mention Icons, who was on the, I know, that Team War, I think it was. Yeah, let me double check. Icons was definitely getting his name out there at EWC. There was someone else who was in the Challengers EWC that was also mentioned that people need to look out. I don't remember the name, but we'll see what happens. Now, Thieves, if you lose, more than likely you're losing Hydra, and if you lose Scrap, then you're going to need an SMG and an AR. I could see them potentially targeting some of the Challengers teams that made it to EWC, as well as we'll see what happens, but I'm curious. Now Koi, I see Kleenex Insight parting ways and bringing Denza and someone else in maybe, but we'll just have to wait and see. Rebuild wise, I also could see maybe Ghosty going back to LA Thieves maybe. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end the episode off. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.